How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Now, today, I'm going to turn off this light. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about some major information that just came out regarding Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. It's actually a response from the Pokemon Company in regards to the games and what they've messed up with and what their thoughts are. So, let's get right into it. This was posted by Cerebi, so if you want to read this on your own, there's going to be a Cerebi post. Either way, it should be somewhere on the screen here. I should show you guys how it looks like. If you want to, guys, want to see what it looks like here in terms of text, but I'll be reading through it and give you my thoughts and what I think about it, as we go through it here. So let's start with the first part here, of course, on Cerebi saying, following the recent controversy about the Pokemon Home's connection with Pokemon Sword and Shield and the inability to transfer all Pokemon, the Pokemon Company have put out a statement, which is actually really appreciated. That actually, I've got to be honest, I know we're not getting into it straight away. I know some of you will probably skip ahead in the video, but I want to just point this out. Do understand, they never tend to do this. The Pokemon Company tends to be very reclusive in this sort of stuff. They tend to keep it to themselves, and I guess this has been enough of an outpouring. There's been so much criticism and so much anger, I guess, from people that they really had to actually put something out there. So let's get into the actual information right here. Now, thank you to all of our fans for caring deeply about Pokemon. Recently, I shared the news that some Pokemon cannot be transferred to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I've read all your comments and appreciate your love and passion for Pokemon. And just like all of you, we are passionate about Pokemon, and each and every one of them is very important to us. After so many years of developing the Pokemon video games, it's a very difficult decision for us. I'd like to make one thing clear. Even if a specific Pokemon is not available in Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, that does not mean it will not appear in future games. The world of Pokemon continues to evolve. The Galar region offers new Pokemon to encounter, trainers to battle, and adventures to embark on. We are pouring our hearts into these games, and we hope you'll look forward to joining us on this new journey. So it's a pretty short statement. It's not that long. I've been looking through to see if there's anything else I've missed here, but honestly, that seems to be just about the general gist of it. There seems to be not really much else in terms of brand new information. That's about all we really got to work with, which I think is not a lot, really. It's not really enough of a response to just kind of like just give everything a pass. I think the reason people are frustrated, and we've already talked about this a million times, and I really don't want to be a hater of these games. Please understand, I do not hate these games, but also I do not blatantly accept what they're doing. I'm a bit in the middle, because I like some of the things that are happening in Sword and Shield, like the fact that we're getting open world areas and these new things, somewhat of an upgrade in some areas, but I do dislike the fact that there are missing Pokemon. And I know a lot of people will be on either side of the the trench. Some people be arguing, oh, I want the national decks back, I don't care, they aren't putting enough effort in. Where the other side will be like, I don't care if there is no national decks, you're just being this or that, just rude words. It's like both sides have issues right now. Both sides are heated for their own respective thing, right? But I think it's very important to understand, right? We should really separate two situations here. Please, if you want to criticize something, criticize it, okay? Criticize it, make your own posts on the internet, talk about it, voice your opinion, but also, please be respectful. Don't, attack people like Masuda or Omori for making these games, working on them. You gotta understand that, they have a huge impact on these games, but it's also, executive levels stuff that's been decided here, and who knows where this all started, where they wanted to do this with the Pokédex. And also, we gotta remember that eventually Pokemon would come to the point, eventually, not yet, but eventually, Pokemon would come to the point where they wouldn't be able to make more of them. The only problem, the reason why people on the other side who are complaining about the national decks missing, the reason they are complaining is because they already have all the models finished, and there are so many people that have already gone through and explained. There's tons of stuff out there, and I think I may even put something on the screen here if I remember to, but there's actually been a comparison of people some people saying oh, if you think it's that easy, do it yourself, and people have done it themselves. I've seen people totally remake Pokemon, fully remake them in 24 hours, make a whole brand new Pokemon, remake a Pokemon, make the model, make the textures, even make animations that are new for them in that amount of time, and they're on their own, the novice level people that are doing those things. So I think we should make sure to remember that just because these things are made by developers and Masuda's kind of the face of this thing, don't judge him. It did seem like he wasn't really in a good position when he was announcing this. It didn't feel like he was trying to just do a bad thing. It felt like it wasn't really the best situation for him either. But also, I do think a point should be brought up with the fact that they decided to announce it at such a weird time frame, right? They didn't announce it during one of the directs or anything like that. They announced it during the Treehouse, where there of course was less people involved, right? which was, you know, like usually people drop off after the, you know, the direct, and then Treehouse is what, smaller, and they brought it up their role places, so it kind of feels like a little bit like it's a disingenuous thing, you know, where like they tried to put it right there so less people would maybe like catch up on it, and then that way they could kind of like slide away with it much easier, which did not happening because all of us noticed it. And since we already have like people that voiced their opinions very loudly, like myself and other content creators, those who did hear that, and as soon as we heard it, everybody was rioting initially. Now, I was very frustrated initially, but I still tried to look at it from a positive angle, because not in a positive angle as in like it's a good thing, because no, in no way or shape is it a good thing that they are removing the national decks. Like, I think everybody can agree with that. I know Joe Merrick has been trying to, you know, tone down people who are kind of going too hard on Game Freak, or, you know, going too hard on Masuda and whatnot, which there are a lot of people who take it one step too far. You know, you should never threaten Masuda or Mori or the Pokemon Company. Like, just... they're also humans, okay? You shouldn't threaten them. There's no reason for that. That's just taking it one step too far. And that point, you don't deserve to ever touch another Pokemon game if you're gonna go that far for a video game, okay? Like, just don't do that. Like, be critical in a constructive manner, right? This is a good thing because this is the first time they decided to really go out there and give us a response. Usually they're very quiet. You know, Pokemon Company is very quiet about these things. They don't tend to give us much of a response, which is very interesting. But they didn't really give much of a response here. I really hoped for more, because, like, all they tell us here is like, oh, cool, we just, you know, like, this is just what we wanted to do, so whoop-de-doo, you know, it's like one of those situations, which is a little bit disappointing. I would have appreciated if there's more, like, elaboration on, like, why it happened, or if they plan to change it. I mean, they do explain that other Pokemon will show up in the future. We already kind of knew that. We already know that, like, let's hypothetically say that Weedle, right? Let's say Weedle doesn't show up in this game. Well, guess what? It's pretty much guaranteed Weedle will show up in, like, a future game, most likely, you know what I mean, because it wasn't in this one. It's kind of guaranteed. So that isn't really something that I'm surprised by, but like I think like they're missing the point here, maybe, or maybe like they do understand it, but they can't go back on it, right? They can't just be like, yeah, we'll add the rest of the Pokemon. They can't do that because it's too late. Okay, it's too late. The games are coming out. The games are set for date, and since Pokemon games have to come up at a specific time due to the anime and TCG schedules having to match with them, it makes it a little bit, you know, tricky trying to match all that stuff up. Of course, you know, you can make the argument from the other side that, you know, the people that, you know, hashtag bring back national decks, those guys could argue that, oh, just delay the anime, delay the TCG, just delay those as well. Well, the thing is, when you have a business type thing going on, you know what I mean, when there are many cogs rolling, it makes it very hard just to stop one side, you know, because if you do that, it messes up everything. It's not just as easy as just snapping and finishing it, you know what I mean, it's done. Actually, if you do snap, you probably make half the Pokemon disappear from the Pokedex. But, the point I'm trying to get to is that it's not as easy as it may seem to just, like, snap our fingers and the solution is there. I think the best solution here that could probably satisfy a lot of people is if they patch in these Pokemon, or if they give us a good enough, like, you know, good enough reason to actually get Pokemon home, because right now, there really isn't that big of a reason to get Pokemon home. Think about it, right? The reason we got Pokemon back in previous games is because every time we got a new generation, like X and Y, Sun and Moon, etc., we could bring them over to Pokemon Bank, right? And then from Pokemon Bank, we can bring them over to those games, all the Pokemon, doesn't matter which one it was, all of them could be brought over. Now we can't do that. Now there's no reasoning, because if all the Pokemon, let's say we have 500 Pokemon in the Galar Pokedex, let's say there's the 500 total, right? If I can already catch them in that region, right, and I can get them there, the only reason I want to bring a Pokemon over that, you know, that's the same, that's already in that region, would be maybe if I have a Pokemon in a previous game that I specifically trained, or I had a specific name on it and I really loved it through my previous journeys, then fair enough. But, like, if you're a person who specifically loves, like, one specific Pokemon and you can't use that Pokemon in your journey, that's a little bit, you know, a little bit sad. Because, I mean, think about it. That's also almost as if, just hypothetically think about this, right? I know it's a very stupid hypothetical, but that's almost as if, you know, Ash Ketchum, right? If he couldn't use Pikachu in his next journey, right? That would just be like, what the hell is his main Pokemon? It's been his friend since 1999. Okay, like 1998, I think 1998. Sorry, 1998. Why would you, like 1997? Okay, my point is, it's been like his friend for so long. Why would you, like, just yoink him away, you know what I mean, from Ash? Like, that just makes no sense. But that's the same feeling that some people, I'm not saying you know, the ones who are okay with this Pokedex thing, you know, like this issue. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying that there are people out there. You might be like, I don't care about those people. Well, that's fair enough, but that's the same way, you know, maybe they don't give a shit about you being okay with this. That's the same thing. It's like, you know, just because you are okay with it doesn't mean others have to be. You know what I mean? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion and to, you know, look at things in their own manner, in their own way, right? That's just how things are. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But as for their response, I don't know, pretty weak in terms of, like, stuff there. I would have appreciated more of a detailed reasoning, like, hey, we're gonna work around with it a little bit. We may not include it in this game. We'll do it in future games, but the reasoning for that is because we want to, put more time into blah 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 blah. Like, I'm gonna be honest. For me personally, and this is just a final opinion of mine at the end of this video. My personal opinion is that I just want one thing in these games, okay? I want one simple matter thing to happen. That is, please, let the game be filled with other sort of content. If I play this game and I get to the end of the game and the post game is non-existent, then I'm truly disappointed. Or if you make up the bullshit excuse that the wild area is my post game, that would be quite frustrating. Or like that the max rates are the post game, because that would be really frustrating. Because the thing is, we haven't had a good post game in a Pokemon game for a while now. I think Ultra Sun and Moon had a decent one, not a perfect one, but a good one, decent one. You know what I mean? That worked. Like the Ultra Wormholes were fun for me because they were just interesting, right? The Team Rocket, Rainbow Rocket thing was pretty fun, but it was also pretty lackluster beyond that. It just really wasn't much else there. You know what I mean? We haven't had anything, interesting for a while. So I really hope that these games will at least have a good post game, because if there's a good post game, there's a good story throughout the game, then I can be okay with the Pokédex personally. But if I play the game and the story's bad, there's no post game, and there's no replayability value, then I'll be quite disappointed. And also, if the game ends up being broken and competitive, like once the VGC scene and, the competitive people get their hands on it, if it ends up looking like, again, like what it was for the last, 4 years with Pokemon, where people kept running the exact same teams because they were the only ones that worked. If that's how it looks like, then your excuse for this, for removing the Pokemon for balancing reasons is another BS reason, right? So I hope for the best. Honestly, I really am still excited for Sword and Shield. I have issues with the game. I have issues with so many things, and I know that there is no way that they will fix all the things that, we have called them out for by the time the games come out. Like, a lot of people might make the argument, oh, the thing we saw is a demo. It was, right? They can make changes, but the time frame they're working with right now is not enough to get all those changes done. There's about four months, think it would take, right? 4.5 months to go. In 4.5 months, they can make some changes, but not fix everything. That should have been done before. That should have been a thing before. But then again, that all depends on, it could be that the demo version they showed us, which is what I'm hoping for, is that the demo version that we saw during E3 and during the Pokemon First Direct and the second Pokemon Direct, I really hope that that demo was a really early version from maybe 6 months ago, right? I hope that is what it is. If it's a recent version, then I don't expect too many major changes in 4.5 months. Because right now, as soon as, currently right now, this is when things are going to start churning around differently, where they're going to be putting more of their time and effort and moving more of their developers, to start finishing up next year's game, which is hypothetically and most likely going to be Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl remakes, or maybe even Let's Go Johto. Who knows? But either way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below. Thanks so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.